I know I closed my door. I have a feeling that there's someone on the other side of the door who's there for me. A very strong authoritarian energy, like I'm in trouble. And I thought for just a second, I actually saw something kind of like go in the darkness of the door. The moment that I saw that, I hit another level of panic. My heart hit another 100 BPMs per minute right there. The shock of seeing that door open sent my soul out of my body. And now my soul has traveled through the bed. I felt like I was falling backwards into my bed, down through the ground, and just down through these different levels as if I was sleeping on the 100th floor of a hotel. And now I'm just falling through all of these different levels, all of these different floors below me. And I felt this incredible sense of acceleration. And I saw this darkness envelop me on the way down. And just this little ring of light that I just kept my eyes fixed on it, thinking like, whoa, where am I going? Why am I going away from the light? As I'm falling backward, the light is getting further and further away from me. And I'm in a complete panic mode. I know that something really, really serious has just happened. I felt a detachment. I felt like I was split in two, like my body was one place, but everything that I was, my soul, my personality, my character, my history within my soul was being separated from my body as I'm falling backwards. I land and I'm kind of like in a prone position on the floor with my hands in front of me like this. And I lift my head up and I can see that I'm in what looks like to be a cave or rocks. There's rocks and there's dirt all around me. It's incredibly dark. There is only glimmers of light. At this point, I'm still kind of like looking down, looking up right in front of me, and all I see is darkness. And I see this kind of luminance coming from my right side, right over my shoulder. And I'm feeling very, very weak. I mean, very, very lethargic. I pick my head up and I look over to my right. And as I look over to my right, I start hearing the most blood-curdling, agonizing screams that I've ever heard in my life. I mean, there is no movie, there is no disaster that I've ever witnessed or seen online or seen a movie of where people were, so many people, I mean, tens of thousands of people all screaming at the top of their lungs in agony. Very easy to tell that they were just terrified, they were being tormented. And I look over to my right and I can see that there is a lake of fire, and there are people, there are real people in this lake of fire who are burning. Some of them are raising up their hands to try to get out, to try to reach a rock or to reach a pedestal to try to get out. And the flesh on their hands is literally just melting off. These are people who are in just extreme pain and agony. And within this lake of fire, it's very strange because the fire itself is bright. I can see light coming from the fire, but the light that was being emanated from the flame was only traveling like that much. So it was like there was light and there was dark, but there was no separation between them. It was like both light and dark. That was the only luminance that I could see coming from this lake of fire. I could see within the lake of fire, there was like these pedestals that looked like there were people that were climbing up these pedestals in the middle of the lake of fire that were trying to jump from one pedestal to the next. And then I looked over and I could see that the reason why they were trying to jump on these pedestals was because there was a window that was heaven. And it's weird, this entire time, when I'm in this place, I'm seeing these people burning, I'm seeing that I'm in a cave, it doesn't really hit me yet that I'm in hell until I see a window to heaven. That's when it hits me. Oh my God, I'm in hell and these people are trying to get to heaven. But as the people are jumping, that last jump is just too far and they end up falling right back into the lake of fire. Now I'm in this realization like, oh my God, I've really messed up. The best way that I can describe it is when you are in your human body, there is limits to everything that you can feel. There is a limit to the amount of happiness you can feel. There's a limit to the amount of sadness you can feel, because our bodies are only able to hit that limit. When you are without a body, when you are in your soul form, there's absolutely no limit to the amount of pain that you can feel emotionally. I noticed I tried to cry, but there were no tears because there's no water in hell. Those people who had just been screaming in agony suddenly started to shift. Now, one by one, instead of screaming, they're still burning. The burning is still going on. They're still being tormented. They're still being tortured. One by one, they start saying, Jesus, 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 getting more and more intense each time they say it. And then I look over to my right shoulder and I can see that there's this white glow. And this white glow is walking closer and closer to me. Just the glow felt like authority. And I turn as much as I can to look over to see what's happening. And the people who were burning were reaching out for him. As he's walking by them, all of them are reaching out, just trying to touch his garment. And they are like millimeters. They go so close, they just cannot touch him. And I felt like that was another torment for them, because when they would try to reach for him and not reach him, their screams would get louder, their frustration would grow. As I'm watching this unfold, I get this concept in my mind that if they were to touch his garment, they would be sent to heaven. Because now they are believers in Jesus. They believe that he is the Son of God. They believe in his power. They believe in his authority. And if they simply touch his garment, their faith will take them to heaven. But they can't. He comes over to me, and I'm still kind of crouched on the floor. He puts his hands on my shoulder. I go from feeling hopelessness, despair, to feeling this overwhelming love. I mean, overwhelming, just huge amount of love. It was this feeling of familiarity. And I realized I don't even believe in Jesus. And I knew when he touched me, I knew this is where I came from. Before I was on earth, I was with him. He held me. This is where all of the love on earth comes from. He is the source of love. I knew that he knew everything about me. I wasn't learning about Jesus in that moment. I was remembering Jesus. When you are separated from your earthly body, you're no longer limited by your brain, by your mind, by your eyeballs. And when you're separated from your body as a soul, you remember that God is real. You remember that Jesus is real. You remember that he created the entire universe. So I'm feeling all of these emotions. I'm feeling this incredibly intense love. And now the trauma that I was feeling just a few moments ago, where I was watching everybody burn, I was hearing their screams, I was smelling the sulfur and the burnt flesh, I was tasting the sandpaper tongue in my mouth. He takes all of the trauma feeling away and just leaves me with the experience, just leaves me with the ability to observe what's around me without being struck by the trauma. And another thing that I felt in this moment was that not only was Jesus the source of all of the love that we feel on earth, or our capability to love, but he's also the source of every single feeling of satisfaction that we can possibly have on earth. He's the source of all happiness. There is no happiness without Jesus. So I'm having this revelation in this moment. I've gone from feeling absolutely horrified and terrified to feeling this peace. I'm no longer heavily affected by what I'm seeing around me. Even though what I'm seeing around me is just horrifying, I'm able to just observe it. Jesus then inputs this concept into my mind, and I know that I get the feeling that he's ready to share something with me, or he's ready to show me something. And as he does this, I get this concept in my mind from Jesus, who says, I'm very disappointed in the church. I'm very disappointed in how the church has evolved. I gave everything that humanity needed within the Gospels to find me, to find Jesus, to find God, to find their way back to me. And it's been manipulated. It's been used to make money. It's been used in so many ways other than what I had originally intended. And that shocked me, because when you're an atheist, you think Jesus and the church they go together. They're one. Jesus, of course, is going to love the church. These are people who love Jesus going to church. But he showed me that there's just so many nefarious characters, and some of them, they may be pastors, they may be clergy, they may be, people working within the church that are there for the wrong reasons. And it's at that point that I learned that your intention is far more important than the action that you are taking. If you're doing a quote unquote a good action, but you're doing it with a wrong intention in your heart, he really does not like that. He takes that very, very seriously. So as he's just input this concept of being very disappointed in the church in my mind, he casts his hand, and now everything around me goes from being super, super dark, pitch black, to now there's this tunnel of visibility that just appears within front of me. And at the end of this tunnel, I see Pope John Paul II. He was sitting in a throne of gold. All around him was golden coins, diamonds, crystals, valuable pieces of artwork, statues, sculptures. So many riches, an embarrassment of riches was all around him. And the throne of gold, solid gold that he was sitting on, his wrists were strapped in to the side, so he could not move, and he was bleeding.